This playoff season, there's only one place where we'll bet, and that's Fanatic Sportsbook. Yes, they're our presenting sponsor, but it doesn't make sense to bet anywhere else if you're a sports fan. Because when you bet, you earn fan cash, win or lose, which means that your bets get you closer to accumulating fan cash for authentic jerseys, hats, memorabilia, and much more. Winning just hits different with fan cash. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Connecticut residents? Call 888-789-7777. Massachusetts residents? Call 888-327-5050. New York residents? Call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Maryland residents? Visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Betting and Sweating. My name is Andrew Claudio, a.k.a. GMAC, and it is time to preview Game 5 of the Knicks' first-round series against the Detroit Pistons. The Knicks, I will pull up the line in just a second, but you all know because your Knicks in 5 hashtags have been ready to go since before the series. They have a 3-1 lead and going for said Knicks in 5. The Knicks are minus 225 on the money line, 5.5-point favorites. That is courtesy of our friends at Fanatic Sportsbook. The over for the game, I'm not going to say because it may come up a little later in today's show. Joining me today to go over your best bets for Game 5, Mr. Jonathan Macri. John, how you doing? How you feeling?
So I saw a work colleague early this morning, and first words out of his mouth, it's like, "Oh, you're dressed for the occasion," because I have on a black t-shirt.
Oh, no.
And black shorts.
Carmelo Anthony taught us. Don't do this.
Yeah. So I don't.
I'm going to go to a one shot. You go put on something white. I'm kidding. We don't have time. But,
so
man.
In truth, I did not. I am wearing black shorts, but that's just because that's happened to be the shorts that I grabbed today. Shout out to our friends at Bird Dogs. But the shirt is a black shirt, but it has a white logo on it. I did not wear it because it was black. I wore it because this is a shirt I got at a event like 6 years ago for Lance Thomas's line of fishing wear. It's called, I think it's called Slang Magic or something. I forget the name of it is. It's like it's literally probably on the shirt somewhere. In any case, and I did it because I'm like, I want to reminisce, or not reminisce, I want to remember the times when the notion of like a clinching game at home in Game 5 of the playoff series were like very far-fetched. So this is my little throwback to time when times were not as good. That's why I'm wearing it. It's not because it's black.
So two things. One, I'm looking through the lines for tonight on the Fanatic Sportsbook app, and I must have gotten taken off the board. The chances of Lance Thomas being brought up on Betting and Sweating are the
Where
odds
are you, Fanatics? Come on, you got to get on this stuff.
I think you could have got very good odds if you had bet that earlier today. And then shout out to everybody watching live. Armand with a comment, I'm blaming John if we lose. Now we know if they lose tonight, it's because John wore all black for the Pistons funeral, as Knicks in 5 could become a full premonition, a realized premonition at the end of today's game. I'm excited for the opportunity for the Knicks, at least for the Knicks, to have the opportunity to clinch their first playoff series at home since 1999. Ironically, we were here a year ago in the same position in which the Knicks had a chance to win it in 5. They very closely won that series in 5 games. If Tyrese Maxey heroics and Mitchell Robinson jumping and a missed free throw and Deuce not fouling up 3. And let's just speaking of missed calls down the stretch, a travel not called according to the last 2-minute report. Hopefully none of that chicanery comes up tonight, which is why we will go over the best possible bets for tonight. We have our scoring system. We have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5-point category. We start in the 1-point category for Betting and Sweating tonight. A spreader money line or a total bet. This could be a Knicks side, we could be a Pistons side. John, where are you going first with your spread, money line, or total bet?
With trepidation, I am entering tonight. Let's say hopeful that for the first time in this series, and for the first time in a while, the Knicks are going to put together a complete 48-minute game. Does that mean that they will hit shots for 48 minutes? No. Does that mean that they will get stops for 48 minutes? No. But it means that they will, from a process standpoint, and to a certain extent from an execution standpoint, act like adults from minute 1 to minute 48 and not have some of the silliness that has marred each of these games at different points. Obviously, it's great that they're up 3-1. They've done some incredibly impressive things. So I'm belaboring the point too much. I'm going Knicks minus 9.5, and I got that at plus 165. So basically, I think I'm betting on a double-digit win. I think the Knicks, if they do take care of business tonight, I bet you they gain some separation in the fourth quarter. Again, if they come out and they take this thing as seriously as they should, I think that's how it ends up. If they don't take it seriously, then very different story.
So I was talking to one of our reps over at Fanatics, diehard Knicks fan, Jared, and every single thing we've been planning for the future, I've been putting in bold capital letters, tentatively, here's what we'll do for Boston. Tentatively, these are the shows we'll do leading up to it. Tentatively, and he's appreciated it because while I'm just a little stitious, he's extremely stitious. And you, one of the more superstitious, respect the opponent, job not finished people
Always
on the planet, are going out of your comfort zone with the Knicks to win by double digits being your first pick for tonight. You know what they call that, according to Kelly on Insecure? They call that growth. John Macri. So I'm going a similar direction, and it's more just based on what the Knicks have done when they've looked their best. I also think they'll be able to score points tonight, more specifically. I see the over at 111.5. The Knicks to score 112 points this year. In this game, I should say, is plus 105. You're getting plus money on a Knicks team that if they hit their shots in game 4, those were all great looks in the first half. They could have had a 70-point half if they hit their shots. I have to think players play better at home. I think we might get a Deuce McBride game potentially. I feel confident in their ability to at least get 112 points tonight. So I will take Knicks over 111.5 is my first spread or money line at plus 105.
It's wild.
Total bet.
It's wild that they're coming off a game in which they needed, 8 minutes worth of miraculous play by their best players to score 94 points. I'm looking at this and I don't think it's a bad bet at all. Because I completely agree with the logic about the shot making in the first half and then just like decision making in the third quarter was very poor.
Well, now let's talk about the Knicks' opponent tonight, the Detroit Pistons. A Pistons-themed bet, or the op bet, as it's so aptly named. John, you get to go first here. No, I get to go first because you went first last time, so I will go first here. So here's the deal. I absolutely think the Knicks should win tonight. I'm not going to say will win tonight. Again, little stitious. I like the idea of – I'm kind of going against you here in my pick. And it's solely a value thing. And the Pistons' losses, they lost by 2 points. They lost by 1 point. These are the last 2 losses that they had. In game 1, team completely collapsing down the stretch, but they were winning for most of that game. And as you pointed out on the show yesterday with Jeremy, they've only been outscored by 8 points total in this series. So if I'm simply just looking at value, Pistons plus 4.5 being plus money. So they lose by 4 in a close game at Madison Square Garden. Knicks win in 5. You hit. You're getting 4 points at 4.5 points at plus money on the Pistons side. I hope this doesn't happen because I will be stressing out this final stretch of the game. But the way these teams have played it closely so far this series, I have to think that a 4-point game is not entirely out of the realm of possibility, which is why, looking at this value, I'm going to say Pistons 4.5 will be my op bet for tonight.
The only pushback I'm going to give you on this one is that you could get either team to win. This is the bet that I started the series with, by between 1 and 5 points, and you could get it at plus 220.
So go with that, John.
Yeah, I mean, that's just me.
I had to go Piston theme though, so maybe that'll come up later.
So my bet is again kind of leaning into the direction that the X's and O's of the series have pushed us. I'll just say what the bet is. It's Ausar Thompson under 14.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I think JB Bickerstaff has gotten to a point where he knows that if he's going to win this series, he's going to have to count on his best offensive players coming through on offense and those players holding up well enough on defense and continuing to muck it up, continuing to, challenge guys like OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges and Karl Anthony Towns to beat them in one-on-one situations against a perceived mismatch. So I am anticipating a lot of minutes from Malik Beasley tonight, a lot of minutes for Tim Hardaway Jr. tonight, and maybe not as many minutes for Ausar Thompson tonight. That is the way that this has gone. This has been a good bet. I think 3 out of the 4 games of the series, I think maybe a push in another game. So yeah, Ausar Thompson under 14.5 points, rebounds, and assists. But minus 125, I should say. So yeah, it's a minus money, but I think there's a reason it's minus money.
So, question for you, Jonathan.
Sure.
I think I know your podcast choices of Norm, like your normal places you go to. So I don't know if you are aware of the discourse in Pistons land around Ausar Thompson and his minutes.
I'm not.
Very frustrated with his usage.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's a young player, so there you go.
Well, obviously, the numbers being that Knicks, their offense isn't as good because Ausar is able to slow things down in the series. Just out of curiosity, are you more confident in the Knicks' ability when he's on the court or the Knicks' ability when he's off the court?
I have not seen evidence of his ability to frustrate Jalen Brunson to a level that bothers me enough where I'm like, yeah, I think Ausar, like I'm happy that Ausar is, or no, I'm happy if he is on the court, I guess is the way I would say it. The thing that I would be wondering about, I guess, if I was a Pistons fan, and I think there's probably some other reasons that go into this because Jalen Duren is your franchise center, or ostensibly he is maybe because of the plus minus stuff with Duren in this series, maybe going without, and especially since Isaiah Stewart is hurt, maybe going without Duren and going with Ausar at the 5. But even that gets you to Paul Reed's been really good. Now, is Paul Reed really good because he's playing at the same time as Mitchell Robinson a lot of those minutes? Again, we're getting into the weeds here. But I would maybe, again, at this point, you're down 3-1, maybe just try to fly around and have Ausar essentially as your 5. That's the only other thing I would maybe advocate for.
So 2 things. First of all, have higher standards for things you call really good when you're describing Paul Reed. I think he's been fine, serviceable as a backup center.
For a third string big, he's been really good. For a third string big, he's been really good.
That qualifies it. Well, so him and Ariel Hukporti have been very good in this series. Ariel Hukporti, by not playing, meets the standard for being very good. So great minds. Sam Vecini suggested the same thing when the question was asked to me the other night, because I think the Knicks are I'm coming at it from a defensive standpoint where the Knicks are going to play a lot of their minutes with 2 below average defenders on the floor. And if I don't have to worry about one player on the Pistons, that's actually helping the Knicks out a ton. And the pushback to me from Pistons land is that, first of all, they say pizza. And then the second thing they say is that all the guys that I'm worried about offensively, Tim Hardaway Jr., Dennis Schroeder, Tobias, or Malik Beasley, if you put them on the court with Cade at any point, those are negative defenders, and it's easier for the Knicks to score. And it's like, all right, well, that's the chess mess of a playoff series.
I think at this point, again, if you're Detroit, you've done really well at getting the Knicks to beat themselves when they have the ball. I would count on more of that. The only other thing I'll say about Duren, and this is, again, another side of this coin, is he's been so valuable as an offensive rebounder, a putback machine, and also as a lob threat, which I think the Knicks have actually done fairly well to neutralize that. But again, it gives them another thing that they have to worry about. So look, these complaints
It's a
from
wrinkle.
fans.
It's a wrinkle. No, it's a good wrinkle to potentially go to. I dig it.
It's the Pistons have an imperfect team, which is why there was a lot of Knicks in 5 talk to begin with. So the fact that they're complaining about this or that, these are the tough compromises that you have to make. Now, moving forward, and again, this is not a Pistons podcast, they're going to need to figure out this Asar Thompson thing because the guy is an incredibly gifted player and does a lot of things really well. And what is it similar to? It's similar to the Josh Hart conversation. Now, we have a coach that's played Josh Hart for 40 plus minutes,
I think the which is crazy that it's JB Bickerstaff. The thing I'm more comparing it to is 2 years ago, he said, Isaac Okoro, get out of here. Like I'm getting you out of here. They're not guarding you. You're not contributing. He barely played the rest of the series, especially after game 1.
I think Asar makes a higher level of impact, but go on.
Well, as a result, now he's like, okay, I'm doing a similar thing with with Asar Thompson, even though his team doesn't have the same. Well, maybe they do have the same superstar upside at the top. Cade versus Donovan Mitchell's a good conversation. Regardless, we spent entirely too much time talking about Asar Thompson and the Detroit Pistons. Those are our Pistons.
My next
for tonight.
I'm up next, right? Okay.
Yes, the parlay we put together, at least 2 to 3 legs max. I should add they're adding a 25% bonus boost right now on the Fanatic Sportsbook app. So pay attention to what we're potentially about to offer you.
So my parlay
10%, by the way, 10% on 2 legs, 25% on 3 legs. So go ahead, John.
I was about to say I actually got something. I don't know what's going on with my account. Maybe they like me. I got boosted 33%. So my plus 180 on what I'm about to tell you got boosted to 239. When I bet it, I actually did bet this earlier today. I did a 3-leg Brunson 26 or more points, Deuce McBride 5 or more points, Josh Hart 8 or more rebounds. And again, plus 180 got boosted to plus 239. The number that gives me the value here and the number that I'm most worried about, crazily enough, is Deuce McBride 5 or more points. I am banking on exactly what you said earlier. Role players tend to play better at home. We have a sample size now of a lengthy period of time that Deuce McBride just seems to not be shooting like himself. Wouldn't it be a perfect time to break out of that slump tonight with a clinching opportunity? So and look, he's made 1-3 in a couple of games already. If he makes 1-3 and then another basket, a fast break, a couple of free throws, whatever, I get the 5.
So your last game in game 4, you went with your points, rebounds, and assists, Deuce McBride 6.5. And when I was doing the research today, I was like, well, how did that end up? And I realized, my God, he got 5 points, 1 rebound. So literally the thing you're asking for, and he played extra because Brunson was out for like a majority of 5 straight minutes.
And he had opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Deuce shooting well, this should be just shooting okay. This should hit the over. Getting him to 20 minutes, I think, is the way. Him shooting well is the way you get him to 20 minutes. It's also, I think, a way for a Knicks victory on the other side. This is a good parlay, by the way. I like it. Where I went is back to the Villanova well. A plus 495 boosted to plus 618, a 25% bonus boost. Shout out to Fanatic Sportsbook. Going back to Villanova. So I have a bonus parlay to share with everybody in just a second, but we'll start here with my actual pick for tonight. So Mikal Bridges 2+ steals, which is actually the most difficult one out of all of it. Josh Hart 10+ rebounds. He's done this in each of the last 2 games. And Jalen Brunson 28+ points. I'm not even going all the way to 30, just 28+ points. Is plus 495, boosted to plus 618. So again, it's a Villanova trio. I hit the Villanova parlay for game 2, I believe, either game 2 or game 3. No, I hit it for game 3. So they have done me well so far this series. The other one, and I forgot to add it to StreamYard, but so the stat that's been floating around lately, that Jalen Brunson is the first player in NBA history to start a playoff series with 4 straight games of 30 points and 7 assists. A parlay of Jalen Brunson, 30 points and Jalen Brunson 7 assists, according to our friends at Fanatic Sportsbook, is plus 140. And boosted with their bonus boost is plus 154.
I would do that and throw in a couple rebounds because Jalen's always good for a couple rebounds or 2. Or
literally any of your other solid bets if you want to. Cade Cunningham, this Josh Hart, that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously our minds were thinking alike on our our parlays. Actually, I like your parlay better than my home run bet, but I'll save it because you're up again with our your home run bet.
Well, so we go to the home run bet plus 300 or greater. My bet, again, I started with the Knicks getting over 111 points. So if both teams get 111 points tonight, say the final score is 118-116, like it was in game 3, or I actually forget, it was 122 to 114, 113 in game 1. If both teams get 111 points, it is plus 330. So if we're sweating out a close game down the stretch, 115 all, game 6 last year in against Philly, that closeout game, it's plus 330. I just think it's good value. Team score points in the NBA. I know the last game, guys missed shots. I am taking, I mean, this is why it's a home run. I'm asking for in the NBA, what would be a low scoring game, which is like 115, 113 potentially to be in play. This is the direction I'm going with it. So plus 330.
I like it. So my home run is a little bit more player centric. I was looking at combined point totals and I settled on Jalen and Cade to go for at least 70 points. It's plus 450. Now, there's been 4 games in this series. They've done this once, and they, I believe, hit it on the number. Hit it on 70. Why
it's a home run? This is a good home run if you're swinging for. This is an upper decker you're swinging for.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Like, I think Cade, other than turnovers, I think Cade has played very well, and I wonder if I'm like. Here's the thing. We don't know what like mode Cade Cunningham is going to go into facing elimination. Is he going to go into a mode of like, I'm going to take 30 shots tonight? Because if my team's going down, I'm going to make sure that I'm personally giving them the best chance to not go down without a fight. And so I think there is a possibility that he gets a high number into the mid 30s. And then obviously Jalen, I mean, it just seems like you could put 30 plus points in pen. And so plus 450, I'll echo what you said a few times now. I like the value. But yeah.
The thing that would scare me, not from a gambling standpoint, is I think if this hits, the Knicks lose.
But again, it's factored into my thinking. If you're going to bet this, I think
it's emotional hedge. Yeah. Look at you.
It covers your bases. Cause I don't know that the Pistons are going to come into Madison Square Garden and upset the Knicks in a game 5 being down 3-1 without Cade Cunningham having a massive scoring game specifically.
I agree on that sentiment. Our official betting and sweating pick for today. First, we go to the Fanatic Sportsbook app and look at what our friends did today so far. So more like Mensa, taking the Jalen Brunson, 30 points, sticking with old reliable, minus 130. Jeff J, thinking how you're thinking, John. Deuce McBride, 5+ points at minus 115. And Sean is taking the Knicks first half team total over 56.5 points. I would note if they hit both of these, hit 56.5 in both halves, I will hit on my over for tonight of 111.5. So those are the official betting and sweating picks that are in the app. We will now be adding 2 more to our official betting and sweating picks. Our 5-pointers, John. Where did you go with your official pick for tonight?
I have had a theme for this entire postseason where this is concerned, and that is that there are guys that I know are capable of coming through with a big game, and then there are guys who I know are going to not only leave everything they have out there on the court, but like generate a certain level of production. And one of those guys is Josh Hart. I don't have to worry about Josh Hart playing a ton of minutes because I know who he plays for. And so I went Josh Hart, double, plus 125. I like this for a few reasons. 1, it's plus money. And 2, I feel pretty good about the possibility that I could get this in any of those 3 prominent categories. If Josh Hart went out there and had a triple-double tonight, I wouldn't be surprised in the least. So I think, again, and given that, and again, I have another bet, where it's a Josh Hart rebounds bet. You have a bet where it's a Josh Hart rebounds bet. I think we all feel pretty good about Josh Hart coming down with a certain number of rebounds.
A little bit.
And then it's about, okay, how do the Pistons play him? Are they playing him to pass or are they playing him to score? And if either all they have to do is pick one or the other, and it's an over. So I like this one.
So I love this one. I think it's also a telling thing about Josh Hart that like a double-double is like around the same thing as a Jokic triple-double. It's like one of the more like it's tough because he doesn't score a ton, but it's not that far-fetched that it's basically even like 2-to-1 value or even money, So I like that Josh Hart is getting that kind of respect. Now you witnessed this live and in real time. We haven't said Karl-Anthony Towns' name yet tonight, and I'm determined to go with a cat over for tonight. So points plus rebounds. I'm going with a combo for Karl-Anthony Towns over 35.5 at -115. So here's the thing. He has not rebounded as much as he did in the regular season. This is his regular season average, basically. I'm going to count on Cat tonight. They have not really been able to guard him over the past 2 games. The Knicks have also been featuring him over the last 2 games. And look, let's just be real about it. That third quarter, Karl-Anthony Towns was a bit of a disaster class, and we forgot all about it because he was outstanding with 8 points in the final 3.5 minutes.
3 minutes, he was outstanding.
But that's all it took to win a game.
That's all it took.
Now he's back home, and now they're having a chance to put this thing away. A 25-12 gets this done tonight. I'm counting on Cat as it's not steered me wrong yet. From a fan standpoint, from a gambling standpoint, I'm gonna count on Karl-Anthony Towns in this game.
I love Karl-Anthony Towns. I love rooting for Karl-Anthony Towns. I love watching Karl-Anthony Towns. He's my guy right there on the slam.
Itusabe.
Yes, Itusabe. I'm not putting my money where my mouth is where Karl-Anthony Towns is concerned just yet. Maybe he'll get there.
Totally fair. Those are the official betting and sweating picks for tonight's game. Let's do some bonus bets before we get out of here. Do you have an out-of-town spread or money line that you want to go to?
Yeah, and I'm sick to my stomach right now because all day long I was looking at and thinking about taking the Bucks money line because much like the Knicks, I have watched and paid attention to the Pacers this year. And you know what the Pacers are? They are infuriating because they will come out of nowhere with like, oh, why did the Pacers lose by 17 points to the Nets, at home, in the middle of February? They have these performances in them, and everybody thinks they're, the Bucks are down, no Dame, the whole thing. And I guess I was like, I expect more from the Bucks than the freaking Heat. And I was staring at it all freaking day, and I was too much of a chicken to go with it. And so I went with the over point total on this game as a whole, which is 222.5. Now, this game has started. The first quarter is about to end. Milwaukee is up 30-13 in Indiana. Now, I think I'm still going to hit the bet because I think that Indiana is obviously going to figure out a way to score more than 13 points in future quarters. But I'm a little bothered that I didn't go with my gut here.
So the outcry in Bucksland was that this thing needed a starting lineup change,
and they got it.
Brook Lopez and Kyle Kuzma, not even just like the Dame of it all, obviously being a tragedy. They went with a starting lineup change today. No Brook Lopez, no Kyle Kuzma in the starting 5. And both of those guys played 2 minutes in the first quarter, and you get a 30-13 first quarter. So now you think you're sick, John. So maybe one of us took Indiana -14.5.
Hey, listen,
thinking that the coffin was already had a couple nails in it, and this just needed to be one of the final ones, not just on like this Bucks season, but maybe the Giannis tenure. And they clearly are going down without a fight, unlike said Miami Heat.
Aren't going down without a fight.
Excuse me, aren't going down without a fight. Correct. Our last pick for tonight, our last bonus bet. Any single individual player props that you want to go to?
Yeah, let me just double check, and this is the one I actually put here. Yeah. Oh wait, no, this isn't what I put. Wait. Yeah, it is. Sorry, it's not on the spreadsheet. You changed it on the spreadsheet. You must have you made a counting error there. Yeah, I'm going Jokic 30 or more, -110. I don't.
You don't see it on the spreadsheet?
No, you changed it. You have something else there on the spreadsheet. I don't know.
I see Jokic 30 plus minus 110.
I'm looking at something. Whatever.
You want a different game?
No, this is my bet. It's Jokic 30 plus minus 110. I don't know if the Bucks. I looked at these lines. I looked at the. Oh, now I see it. I looked at money line. I was thinking about money line Clippers. I was thinking money line Nuggets. I don't have a lot of faith in how this game is going to turn out, or any of these future Nuggets Clippers games are going to turn out, because the series is just too close. But I do think the Nuggets offense has reached the point where it's all Jokic all the time. And I understand that can manifest itself in different ways. I think at home tonight, it will manifest itself in him scoring. So 30 or more.
So this has been a theme for me since we've been doing betting and sweating. If I can get plus money on a Jokic triple-double, I'm just going to take it every time. Since we've been doing this show, there have been 3 games in which Nikola Jokic has played on the same night that we've done this show, and he's missed it by 1 rebound in all 3.
Well,
he's got a triple-double in game 2, got a triple-double in game 3, and missed it by 1 rebound in game 4. So back home with a little bit of momentum, but it just in a series that I think the way for them to win the series is for him to get a triple-double. I just, any chance you can get plus money on Nikola Jokic to get a triple-double, you should take it. Those were our betting and sweating picks for tonight. We will update them on the Knicks Film School post-game show. Please tune in for that. John, any thoughts before we get out of here?
Just play a serious basketball game, please. That's all.
Please be serious. That's all we ask. Please be serious.
For the vast majority of the 48 minutes, please be serious.
So I've been doing this. Unfortunately, I've been putting up the call to action at the end without realizing that it's not going on the audio. I've been telling people leave a 5-star rating and a review, but you're not listening to this, so you can't leave a 5-star rating and a review. So thank you for tuning in to Betting and Sweating, presented by Fanatic Sportsbook. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel. And that's the only thing we're going to ask you to do as far as this show is concerned. Please do join us for our playback watch along. We'll be heading over there at round tip off. You can join us right here on YouTube or by going to playback.com /T KFS. That's the playback.tv/KFS. That's the link that you go to. There you go.
I'll just say
/TV. Sorry, go ahead, John.
Very briefly, I like your cat bet a lot more. Shout out to New York Basketball Twitter account. Just tweeted this picture of Cat arriving in a Patrick Ewing shirt. I like it. I dig it.
Karl Anthony Towns, lifelong Knicks fan. People were retweeting his old Knicks tweets from like the early 2010s. How he was like sad that Jeremy Lin was leaving. I know that's the thing that frustrated you a lot, John, when Jeremy Lin left, unfortunately for Houston. As the resident Melo stan, I was indifferent. Thank you everybody for tuning in to another edition of Betting and Sweating. We'll be back hopefully with nothing to do with this series before you know it. Take care.